Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the BPM Change Management PRR Review Monthly Meeting. My name is Nicole Hines, representing the California ISO Customer Readiness, and I will be facilitating today's web conference. Today's call is being recorded. These recordings are for informational and convenience purposes only, and any related transcriptions should not be reprinted without the ISO's permission. As a reminder, these monthly calls are structured to stimulate an honest dialogue and engage in different perspectives. While we welcome comments and questions, please remember to keep comments professional and respectful. We will be taking questions throughout the call today. If you are dialed in by phone only and not on the WebEx, you can enter the question queue at any time by pressing #2 on your telephone keypad. If you connected audio through the WebEx platform, please use the raise hand feature located above the chat box in the lower right-hand side of your screen. Please introduce yourself before asking your questions, and if you need technical assistance during the call today, please send a chat message to the event producer. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the proposed revision requests that are in the initial or recommendation stage of the process. We'll be discussing 12 PRRs today. 8 are in the initial stage and 4 are in the recommendation stage. And all PRRs were submitted by the ISO. The purpose of the BPMs are to set forth business practices that implement the ISO tariff. Each year, the ISO conducts a yearly policy initiative roadmap to consider and rank initiatives. Policy changes submitted through PRR processes will be referred to in the policy initiative roadmap, and each subject area in a BPM is based on enabling language in the ISO tariff. The PRR process cannot be used to introduce changes that are not supported by existing tariff authority. The first BPM we're going to be discussing today is the Scheduling Coordinator Certification and Termination BPM, PRR 1515, to add additional clarifying information for the 24/7 grid test is in the recommendation stage. The reason for this revision is that we've added section 5.3.8.1 for common questions for grid ops test and the 24/7 real-time phone number. We did not receive any recommendation comments, and the recommendation comment period expired on August 15th. The next step is to post the final decision. Are there any questions on that PRR?
Currently, no questions on the line.
All right, great, thank you. The next BPM we're going to talk about is the metering BPM, PRR 1518 for meter data retention in the recommendation stage, and I will hand that over to Priyanka.
Good morning. PRR 1518 is submitted for metering, and the reason for this revision is to add additional information after an internal review about the meter data retention in MRIS system. We have not received any recommendation comments, and the recommendation comment period has expired on August 15th, 2023, and the next step is to post the final decision.
Thanks, Priyanka. Are there any questions on this PRR?
There are currently no questions on the line.
All right. The next BPM is the Managing Full Network Model BPM, PRR 1519, to utilize north to south and south to north nomograms. All in real-time markets to manage physical and market flows with all lines in service and or outage conditions within the initial stage. I will hand that over to Vivian.
Thank you, Nicole. For this PRR 1519, the revision includes the change in section 2.1.1.2 to align the BPM with updated contract obligation and the COI path operation agreement, and inform market participants that north to south and the south to north flow constraint will be enforced on the COI to manage physical and market flows in all real-time markets. And this is the emergency PRR. The effective date was August 1st this year. The initial comment period was expired on August 15th. We received one comment from Pacific Core to request the communication when the constraint is activated in the market. Thank you for the comments. We also provide the response in the BPM management portal to indicate when the constraint was activated in all real-time markets on August 4th, it will remain as always active. And the active status will not be toggled. Therefore, no additional notifications are needed. But in order to provide a better clarification, we'll add a sentence in the same section of Flag model BPM and indicate the constraint will be always activated in all real-time markets. And the next step is to post a recommendation. Are there any questions or comments for this PRR?
We do have one question on the line. Your line is unmuted. You may go ahead.
Thanks for the comment. I really appreciate it. So just a clarification question. So that sounds like the constraint will always be activated in the real-time markets, but does the CAISO then communicate with COI path owners if the CAISO is seeing this constraint binding in any of the real-time markets? Is that like a communication that the CAISO is going to have with COI path operators?
I will, since this, we don't have operation in this call, I will take this question back and confirm with you afterward.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. But yeah, I think I definitely agree with the extra sentence about this constraint always being activated, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. VJ, if you'd like to also email that question to bpm_cm@caiso.com, we can make sure to follow up with everyone that's needed. Thanks, Vivian. Are there any other questions on this PRR?
There are no additional questions in queue.
All right, thank you. So the next BPM we're going to be discussing is reliability requirements. PRR 1523 is for maximum import capability enhancements policy changes in the initial stage. The reason for this revision is that BPM changes to reflect the remaining items from the maximum import capability or MIC enhancements policy initiative. There were no initial comments. The comment period expired on August 15th, and the next step is to post the recommendation. Are there any questions or comments on this PRR? If you're dialed in by phone only, please hit #2. Otherwise, use the raise hand feature in WebEx.
There are no questions in queue.
Thank you. The next BPM is Market Instruments BPM PRR 1516 for bidding limitations for non-generation resources and default energy bid changes associated with Energy Storage Enhancement Track 1, as well as PRR 1517 for transaction cost bid adjustments, reference level change request clarifications, hydro default energy bids update, and wholesale electricity price calculation updates. Those are both in the recommendation stage. PRR 1524 for maximum import capability enhancements are in the initial stage. PRR 1516 is to accommodate changes associated with the Energy Storage Enhancement Project. This is an emergency PRR that was effective on July 1st. We did not receive any recommendation comments, and the comment period expired on August 15th. The next step is to post the final decision. PRR 1517, the reason for this revision is for to make clarifications on existing BPM guidance, as well as make corrections to existing BPM guidance. These clarifications and corrections impact formulas and processes. They do not reflect any new policies and would not require changes to market participant systems. We did not receive any recommendation comments, and the comment period expired August 15th. And the next step is to post the final decision. for PRR 1524 was to provide information on new OASIS reports created by the MIC Enhancement Project. There were no initial comments. That comment period also expired August 15th, and the next step is to post recommendations. Do we have any questions on any of these three PRRs?
There are no questions on the line.
All right, thank you. The next BPM is for market operations. PRR 1521 is for the new process to automatically adjust day-ahead electronic tags to match the energy profile in the residual unit commitment final schedule. And PRR 1527 changes to the automated dispatch system partial accept and T-20 auto approval. PRR 1527 was added to the agenda today for discussion. It is also going to be discussed on the September and October BPM meetings. And I will hand this over to Michael to discuss.
Thanks, Nicole. So PRR 1521, the new process to adjust day-ahead tags in the day-ahead time frame. This process revision enhancement essentially is to address when the day-ahead publishes late. We went through a number of stakeholder processes, and we have a set time at 15:30 when this runs. But what if the day-ahead runs late? We now have a process to communicate its new execution time. So we didn't get any comments on this, and that period expired on the 15th. And next step is we'll post a recommendation. Okay, so for PRR 1527, this is a couple of things here. Changes to the ADS partial accept logic and rule, and also the T-20 auto approval. Now let me start with the T-20 auto approval. This is for tagging, and every BA authority has their own determination and rules on what they do with late tags, a tag that comes in within 20 minutes. Some BAs auto-approve them, some auto-deny them. So this is a NERC decision. We're making this change, but really following NERC guidelines to the extent that we can say, no, we want to have them auto-denied, but with the ability of the scheduling desk to review them on a case-by-case basis. The other part of this PR is the partial accept logic in ADS. And the intent here is to have ADS not allow the ability to partial accept above the HASP value. And intent here for imports and exports is to provide better clarity on what is being imported or exported across our interfaces. So again, as Nicole mentioned, this is an early look at this PRR. We just submitted it, so the initial period, comment period, is still in play. It goes out till September 13th. This is a courtesy a discussion because this may change folks' processes and procedures. So next step is we'll bring this up next month in the initial comment period. Any questions on those two?
Let's see, there are currently no questions in queue.
All right, thank you, Michael. The next BPM is for settlements and billing. PRR 1522, documentation only updates to the real-time energy quantity pre-calc and meter energy adjustment factor pre-calc for a base schedule energy variable in the initial stage, and I will hand this over to Matthew.
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, everyone. PRR 1522 is basically was a documentation change and was identified via dispute. And what's happening here is at pump storage hydro in WIM Balancing Authority area is being incorrectly designated as generating resource during the interval which the resource are in the pumping mode. So this dispute was identified, and we made the changes. It's documentation changes only. Initial comments, we did not receive any comments initially. Initial comment period expires on August 15th. Next step is post recommendation. Also, just a heads up, from Satmos perspective, this is pre-fall release. Next couple of months, we will have the PRRs for the fall release. Any questions on PRR 1522?
Currently no questions in queue.
Thank you. Back to you.
Thanks, Massey. The next BPM is the Congestion Revenue Rights BPM, PRR 1520, to process for handling disconnected P nodes for congestion revenue rights purposes in the initial stage. And I will hand this over to Mingbia.
Thank you, Nicole. For this PRR 1520, change its language update on the BPM to reflect the day-ahead market software parameter updates. This update will increase the node replacement layer for the disconnecting node. This will eliminate the manual workaround in the COR and price correction process. So no initial comments received. Initial comment period expired on August 15, 2023. Next step is to post recommendation. Any questions?
Currently no questions in queue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The final BPM is our Energy Imbalance Market, PRR 1525, for the Emergency Assistance Energy Transfer opt-in process in the initial stage. And I will hand this back to Michael.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. PRR 1525, Emergency Assistance Energy Transfer opt-in process change. So back in July, we introduced the Assistance Energy Transfer process, and it outlined how to opt in, which included 5 business days and working with the city ticket process and the MasterFile team. We found that if in the event system conditions changed faster than that process, we needed the ability to opt in. This includes not just the ISO, but all WEIM entities. So this was submitted as an emergency PRR with the effective date of August 14th. So it is effective now and available. At this point, we have not received any comments, and it looks like it says the period has expired September 13th. Nicole, I'm a little confused.
That's a typo. I apologize. The initial comment period, it expired on August 15th, and I'll update the presentation and repost that to the website.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and so any questions on PRR 1525?
There are currently no questions in queue.
All right, thank you, Michael. Before we close the call today, are there any questions about any of the PRRs we discussed? As a reminder, if you're on the phone only, you can hit #2. If you're in the WebEx, please use the raise hand feature above the chat box. Okay, not seeing or hearing any questions. The next BPM meeting is scheduled for September 26th at 11 a.m. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at bpm_cm@CAISO.com. Thank you for joining us today, and that concludes our call.